Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 36 of our On the Mod 6 to the Sky Let's Play series, where today we have a problem we need to solve. Before we dive into that, first off, I want to shout out our friend with the unpronounceable name that starts with an N. A while back, if you remember 7 episodes or so ago, I was stuck. I had died and I got stuck up top, and then I had to, hardcore parkour into our lava there, and then I couldn't do anything from there to get back up to where our corpse was, which is up here, because I didn't have access to my crafting system or anything like that, because I landed down here and I didn't have anything, and I couldn't pillar up. I would have had to destroy my base with, by punching these slabs. It would have taken forever, so we just went creative, flew up there, grabbed our stuff, done, whatever. Don't feel bad about it. But he had made our good friend Unpronounceable N made a good point to say that, it's good to have a crafting table or a crafting grid outside of your compact machines instead of having everything inside of here, or have it in both places. That way, if a situation such as that happens, you have access to your stuff. And that's a great point. I don't know why I never thought of that before. I put it inside of there, and we always had to go into there to go do stuff and then come out. And it was a slight inconvenience having to go into there every single time. So yeah, we just pulled everything out and set it up here. And now if we ever die and a situation arises like before where we, spawn on top of there, which I really should set up a bed so that I don't spawn on top of there, because I spawn all the way up there instead of spawning down here. If I were to set up a bed, that wouldn't happen, but then I just have an ugly bed laying around here and, whatever. But if we do jump off and parkour into our water again, we have our crafting grid, so we can grab some blocks and build up to wherever our corpse is. Pretty cool. So thank you, Unpronounceable N. Anyway, so continuing. So last episode, we had set up some automations for our liquids here, and I let this sit AFK for about 8 or so hours, and we filled up all of our essence. So we have 1,000 buckets of essence in there. We have a buffer, and I was mistaken on how much of a buffer these quantum entangloporters hold. I thought it was 512 buckets. It's 112 buckets. So that one's buffered up. That's buffered up. We also are buffered up on our pink slime, pretty everything except for our latex. And that's just because the latex is extremely slow. You can see there it pulls 1 millibucket every, couple seconds. So the fact that we have 149 buckets of that is, I'm going to say pretty darn good, because that's, it's not the fastest in the world of producing. But yeah, we have plenty of experience in liquid essence to do, whatever the heck we really want to down here with our enchanting setup. So yeah, whenever we get to enchanting, we are good to go. And I want to get into enchanting, but we have a problem we need to solve. So with me AFKing for so long, we happened to run out of room in our disk drives here, and you can see we're almost full. And you might be wondering, well, why? I know I only have a 64K in there, but I have tons of drawers set up for pretty much anything that would back stuff. So why did we end up back stuffing? And I'll tell you why. Let's go to our thermal. This guy here. This process, this setup is stuck. We can't get rid of these ores fast enough. Our pulverizer is just it's not max upgraded. We could go with the resonant ender tier, but it's not going to get significantly faster than what it is now. We just can't keep up. What ended up happening that stopped this whole process was this thing back stuffed, because I didn't have anything set to import on here. And so this iron chest was full of gravel. And then from there, literally, if we look into our system here, our refined storage system, we backstuffed on pretty much all of these pieces. There's probably about 20,000 pieces worth of inventory space inside of here that we need to get rid of. We need to get processing. So that being said, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I do still want to work on setting up power and everything, but we need to take care of this before we do anything, because, you know, our Allthemodium, I want to get Allthemodium armor and stuff. We're only at 18 pieces. We need some more. And I want to get an unobtainium sword, most likely. I say that would be good. Insatiable, I know we talked about this last episode. Insatiable is... what does Insatiable do? As you kill enemies, you get more damage. So the more you kill back to back, the more damage you get. Is from what I understand is how that works. But yeah, like an unobtainium sword, that'd be pretty darn cool, I think. We can, you know, molten unobtainium. It does require soul lava, so we'd have to go... Where do we get soul lava from? That's molten blaze and liquid souls. We could make that happen. I think you can find soul lava in the other dimension as well, but it's very rare. But yeah, I mean, that's something we can work towards. That sword is ridiculous at 295 damage. That's pretty crazy. It is not enchantable, though. We'd have to use upgrades, and it doesn't look like... it does have 2 upgrade slots and 2 ability slots, so we would be able to do a little bit of things to it. But yeah, anyway... So we need to solve this problem, because our furnace is great. It keeps up. I have no issues with this. We're probably going to swap this out over to here for the induction smelter, or not the induction smelter, this redstone furnace. Well, actually, this doesn't have any recipes because we use our mechanism thing. I don't know what we're going to end up doing with this. We'll see where this ends up going. Mechanism kind of replaces this, mainly because this can do... only 1 slot, whereas Mechanism can do, you know, if you get the ultimate, it's like 12 slots, I think, 9 or 12, something like that. Anyway, you can see on our to-do list, we have some Mechanism stuff. I want to go ahead and start working towards, you know, if we're going to replace this, instead of doubling our ores, let's triple our ores. I could go for 5xing our ores, but I honestly don't think we have the power to be able to support that. I honestly, we may even struggle with the power to support 3xing. Mechanism can get very hungry with its power requirements. But yeah, let's get started with that. And once we upgrade to higher tier machines, we'll be able to start processing more of those ores than we are now, because the crusher will be able to handle, you know, we upgrade it to this tier, that's 5, so we can handle 5 stacks of those ores at any one time instead of, you know, only 1 going into our pulverizer. So it'll help us work towards clearing our backlog. So yeah, let's get our foundation set up and get going. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need to run cables over here. Do I have any in my backpack? I do. I'm debating, do I want to use pipes or do I want to use XNet to, you know, do the whole shebang for this? Probably leaning towards XNet, to be honest with you. We'll end up seeing as we go along. The nice thing about the Mechanism machines is they're able to push to the machine next to them. And since we're not really going to have any crafting going on, we're just going to have items pump in. This line is going to be dedicated specifically to 3xing, because we have other machines over here. Like we'll have another crusher, and then this smelting factory. We're going to build another one. We're not going to use the same machine twice, or for 2 different reasons. We shouldn't end up backstuffing, so the regular pipes may work. We'll end up seeing. But the first thing that we need to do is work towards getting ourselves an electrolytic separator. You can see here I bookmarked our iron clumps, which is what you get when you want a 3x with Mechanism. So we put our iron ore in there with a little bit of oxygen inside of a purification chamber, and we get 3 iron clumps. And then each one of those iron clumps turns into a piece of iron through the whole, you know, process. It goes into a crusher, and then it goes into an enrichment chamber, and then that iron dust ultimately ends up going into a smelter. Oxygen is what we need, though, in order to get kick off this whole thing. So let's go ahead and go out here. And we're going to teach the system how to make a few things, because some of these things are going to come up in the future, and it'll just make our lives easier to auto-craft them now instead of waiting for them to be auto-crafted. So yeah, iron dust looks like that's the only thing I don't know how to make. Do I? That's enriched iron. Correct. So we need to teach a crusher how to make iron dust. So give me the recipe for that. and into the crusher. And then you are just a general crafting recipe. So we need to go pop into here. And then you go there. And then I believe I have all these set up into this crusher. Yes. Yes, for our dusts. Okay. So now we should be able to request everything we need for this, right? Looks good to me. So that's going to be our electrolytic separator. And what the electrolytic separator does is separates water, essentially. It can do other liquids too, like brine and stuff. But it separates water a liquid into its core components. So brine is basically salt water. So what it does, it takes it into sodium and then chlorine. Or you can do water into hydrogen and oxygen, heavy water into deuterium and oxygen, yada, yada, yada. And that's what we need to do is water into hydrogen and oxygen. So let's go ahead and craft this. Yes. And we're going to set this bad boy up. He's going to be the first in our line. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines. So really, this is going to be the first. So he is going to go here. And we probably need to pull it forward. And I should have left that plank there because I need something to place this on. And now the question becomes, do I want this to automatically push its oxygen into... Yeah, why not? And it'll back stuff. And then the hydrogen can just, we can just void the hydrogen. It'll be dumping excess of the hydrogen. Usage. So in our machine, when we do our water, the left is going to be the hydrogen and the right is going to be the oxygen. So hydrogen, oxygen. Oxygen is what we're going to want. We're going to want to pump that out to the right, but we're going to turn everything off for now. We don't want to have anything going anywhere. Fluids can input from any side and energy can input from any side. That is okay. Perfect. Okay, so then what we are going to want is a sink. So let's go ahead and craft one of those up really quick because we need to give this guy water and we need it to have pretty much an infinite source of water. Actually, a sink may not be necessary. I forgot we do have water available to our refined storage system. So let's actually do an exporter. And we'll just export water straight into this from our refined storage system. Why set up an extra sink when refined storage can handle it for us? So we're going to set this up because we don't need that much water. And we're also going to want a stack upgrade. So this can do buckets. And sure, we'll just make sure that it can provide enough water at all times. We have the resources. It's not going to hurt us. So let's get our refined upgrades. Let's get you and you. And we're going to say this guy needs water. So where do we want the water to come in? I'm going to say the backside of water. The best place for water to be. It's the eighth wonder of the world, if you didn't know. The backside of water. Anyway, I do live in Florida. I go to Disney World often. Water bucket. Give me that. And we're going to say, okay, sir, you're in fluid mode. Export me some water and do it with haste, please. Thank you. And perfect. Okay. That can go away. I forgot I have an infinite bucket of water too in my bag. Whatever. I'll probably always forget that that's there. And we are going to mute that. Let's do Mekanism. I love the sounds of the Mekanism machines. They're really cool, but man, they can be in your headphones. If you're wearing headphones, they can be very high piercing, ear piercing, very loud, I guess I could say. So yeah, anyway, we're going to need a flux point. So let's grab one of those. Bam. And we're going to need our pipes. And then while we are here, since we have it available to us, did I teach the system how to make gas upgrades? No, we are going to want to. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 40, so 32 more of these. Is that accurate? We'll find out when we get to the end. It's highly possible I miscounted that. We're also going to need some gas upgrades at some point so that we can, be a little bit more fuel efficient. with our oxygen here because it will burn through quite a bit of oxygen. So this is going to be on our output network, and this is going to be our 3x or process. Ultimately, is what this is going to be, and disable the limit because this thing, the electrolytic separator, once it goes, it can go. So, yeah, and then let's get our upgrades. Just one set for now because we only have one machine going, but we want it to be, you know, as we go through. Let's make it efficient. Cool. We have our oxygen. Hydrogen will dump. Oxygen's backstuffed, exactly what we want because it's oxygen that we care about, not hydrogen for this line of machines. So then our next step is going to be to set up a purification chamber. So we need to craft this bad boy. So basically, we need to make an enrichment chamber. So we're going to request all the stuff needed to make that. And then we're going to request the stuff to make that. Bam. I did request all those upgrades, so they may be hogging our machines for the moment, for the time being. Yes, no. Hello. You did I not request those? It may have used them in the making of something. There we go. Okay, so there's an enrichment chamber, and then a purification chamber. Done. All right, so we're going to set this bad boy down. And again, I realized I broke all the stuff, and that was pointless to do because I need to access it. And what we're going to do, we need to actually get an upgrade on this pipe because this is going to use more than that. However much power this pulls, I don't remember. Morphing tool. Bam, 256 RF a tick. And now 8,000 RF a tick. I think that might be okay. We may even need to go higher than that. Do I have a higher tier upgrade? I do. Give me that one. 32,000 RF a tick. I think that'll be more than plenty. Okay, so the purification chamber. Purification chamber needs oxygen. So we're going to say, okay, reset all the sides on this. Clear it all out. Energy is fine. So the gases you're going to input from the left, and this guy is going to export, and this is the light blue slot. Keep that in mind. We're going to go to gases, turn off auto eject for a moment because it's going to go to the dark blue first. See, we're going to do the cyan and then eject, and it should start putting the oxygen in here. Now this thing doesn't hold that much oxygen, 210 millibuckets. So this thing will run as it needs to, and then this thing will take its oxygen and use it. Now this machine does accept gas upgrades, if I remember correctly, so it uses less oxygen for this process. Yes. So we definitely want gas upgrades. So let's go and teach the system how to make the gas upgrades. Because, yeah, like I said, we're definitely going to want those. And we don't want dark glass. We just want glass. Excuse me, please clear that recipe. Why are you still trying to use dark glass? All right, exact. Whatever. This one I need to clear. Oh, sorry. It's a shift right click to clear. Then we can put that back. And we now have that one using regular glass. Don't know why it was defaulting to dark glass, but it was. And then we need to go here, here, here. Gas upgrades. We're going to request 8 of those and let those cook up. Okay, so while we get those gas upgrades, let's go ahead and fill this guy with the upgrades he needs. Oh, and the 8 are done already. Nice. So let's do gas upgrades, speed, and energy. There we go. So then this guy needs, items to be pumped into him. So we're going to need to set up an exporter to pump in all of our ore chunks. Now, the question that I have, and how do I want to handle this? Because we have over here in our thermal area, we have this guy, the auto compressor, set up, and it just accepts everything, pushes it straight into the pulverizer. So do we want to do something similar over here? We'll have the auto compressor. We can set the auto compressor up like right above this and then piping straight into the purification chamber. And then we can have that have an exporter for all the pieces, just like we do over there. I think so. Except for the fact that it needs power. So it's going to be an ugly looking machine. It does an auto output. I guess we could have it in the back. Power. Nope, because we don't have enough room. Trying to think. Either that or we have all the stuff dump into the system and then we just have the system export straight into the purification chamber, all the ore chunks, which would not hurt anything. Like, that may be the way we go. And we just leave that other guy up over there and we just put an importer on him and let him import into our system. And then this will export. I think we'll do that. Okay. So we're going to set up an exporter. And we're probably going to need a elite exporter. Does that sound right? Is that what I put on the other one? You, sir, have an elite. Yes. Okay. Where are we at? Mechanism. Okay, so then that will take care of this. Let's get that exporter, elite exporter. And then we're just going to fly back here and boop. And then we will set up the exports once we actually get all those different ore chunks. Okay, so that is the purification chamber taken care of. Done. Next, we're going to need to build ourselves another crusher, which is pretty easy to do. We have all the stuff needed for that. Give me that. Okay. And then let's do this. So we'll put our pipe here and then not there, please. Excuse me, sir. There. And then we're going to, again, turn everything off except for energy. Crusher is pretty easy. Doesn't need anything fancy. It's just going to take the items from there, crush it, move it into the next. So let's go and move on to our enrichment chamber. And same process with that. It's not going to require anything fancy. So we can just do that. And the enrichment chamber is set up. And we're going to turn all the sides off. And then lastly, we need a smelting factory. Or energized smelter. It will be upgraded to a factory eventually. So we're going to do that. And we have an energized smelter. And that is your 3x ore processing line. Now, let's pop over here and let's go into our thermal expansion. And we're just going to grab... sure, we'll grab gold because we have plenty of it. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go back to our mechanism. And now we are going to set this up. So what we're going to do is... So this is creating the oxygen. Oh, and I also need all my upgrades. Before we get started, let's put all the upgrades in. Because I am slightly concerned about power for this whole setup, so... But I want them maxed out. Because why wouldn't you, you know? Why wouldn't you want to just have everything be the best that it can be? I always want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Anyway, so... Ore. Okay, so what's going to happen, this is going to do its oxygen thing, and then we're going to put a piece of ore inside of here. It's going to turn into gold clumps. And now we need to take those gold clumps in the items, and we're going to say, you're going to output to the right, auto eject. This guy, we're going to say, you're going to input from the left. Input from the left. Output to the right. There we go. So this is going to get the dirty gold dust. And then you are going to output to the right with an auto eject. And you are going to input from the left. You're going to get your gold dust. And then you are going to output to the right, auto eject. And then you can input from the left. And then you can output to the back. And we'll set up an importer on this with full stack and speed upgrades. And that's pretty much it. Like that's the process. So what we need to do is teach the system we're going to say, hey, you are going to export gold chunks into this. And so then if I put these in here, gold chunks are going to get exported if I set this up to input from the back. And all the gold chunks are going to get exported. And we'll put stacking and speed upgrades onto that bad boy. Let's get our importer. And let's get @refined upgrades. Let's get stack. We're going to need 2 of those. And speed, we're going to need 6 of those. Let's just wait for those to go. There's the 2 stack upgrades. Importer is going to go on the back of you along with the cables, which I think I put away. Nope, I just wasn't looking. Okay. So you are going to get a stack upgrade. You are going to get a stack upgrade. And then @refined speed upgrades, you're going to get 3 of those. And you're going to get 3 of those. So now this is going to dump everything as fast as it can. This is going to import everything as fast as it can. So now what we need to do is upgrade these. So we're going to upgrade all of these to advanced level factory. So I'll do that in between episodes here, but we're just going to upgrade them all. And then I'm going to get all of the different ore chunks that we have and teach the system. And then all that is left to do is basically disconnect this. And instead of that, honestly, this doesn't even need to be in this room, but I'm afraid to break this because that's a lot of junk that's going to end up on the floor. Yeah, this doesn't even need to be here. This can go into our other room with our storage upgrades. So I'll move all this over and then get it set up. We're going to import all of these, and then we're going to set it to output each one of these ore chunks into that system, and we're good to go. So yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it. It really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.